NFTs are everywhere these days, and it really does seem like they've taken over the entire cryptoverse. But did you know that NFTs are built with a diverse set of use cases in mind that stretch above and beyond the realm of digital art? Well, in the video today, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the functionality of NFTs and what they are really capable of. This, ladies and gents, you simply cannot afford to miss. Before I can tell you all the different types of NFTs, a quick disclaimer is what we all need. I'm not a financial advisor, you know. Education and entertainment is what you'll get from this video. My name is Guy. I talk about crypto. I do it right here from my perch at the Coin Bureau. From news to reviews, overviews to market moves, if you ain't subscribed yet, what's your excuse? It's okay, I'm not judging, but here's some advice. If you want to get on board, just hit subscribe. If you ring that bell too, well, that would be wise, as YouTube will tell you when there's a new video to view. Finally, check out the timeline below. I've broken it up into different chapters, just so you know. So if you think I'm going a bit slow, feel free to skip ahead to different bits, although you wouldn't want to miss out on any of my golden tips. Okay, enough of all the rhyming from me. Let's crack on with the top 10 types of NFTs. The rising popularity of NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, has got us all wondering how, why, and what. How can one possibly own something digitally unique when it's been taken directly from the internet? And what's the type of stuff you can buy, sell, or trade as NFTs? For instance, could a rock or a funny-looking kitten be tokenized as an NFT? Well, spoiler alert, they can. Okay, now I know this might all sound a bit nuts. However, in order to properly understand why NFTs have been all the rage over the course of the last year or so, a brief analysis of what fundamentally constitutes a non-fungible token is only constructive. If you know all about it, then use those timestamps below. Now, ever since its inception, Bitcoin popularized the concept of trustless digital scarcity. Before Bitcoin, the cost of digitally copying something equated to pretty much nothing. But with the advent of blockchain technology, the creation of programmable scarcity and of the current digital asset economy became possible. Now, NFTs can arguably be construed as an expansion of the underlying principles of scarcity that have been fueling the digital asset economy since the get-go, and as a key building block in the development of a new blockchain-powered asset class. Numerous projects have been experimenting with NFTs in a variety of different use cases, including gaming, digital identity, licensing, certificates, and fine art. What's more, NFTs also allow for fractional ownership of high-value items, opening up a plethora of utilities when it comes to financial tools and contracts. Now, I don't want to bother you with any excessively technical jargon, but bear with me here. In essence, an NFT is a type of cryptographic token that represents a unique asset, be it in the real world or in digital format, and it functions as a verifiable proof of authenticity and ownership within a blockchain network. Furthermore, NFTs are inherently non-interchangeable with one another, which allows for the introduction of non-fungibility and provable scarcity to digital economies. While there are many different types of NFTs in existence, they all boast the following qualities. So, NFTs are immutable, unique, permanent, provably scarce, counterfeit resistant, and have intrinsic blockchain-backed value. Now, because of the unique defining elements that make up a non-fungible token, NFTs can perform a plethora of different roles and functions in pretty much any field, which inherently amplifies the power of the NFT ecosystem as a whole. And given this year-long NFT mania phase, I wanted to dive deeper and unravel the potential of NFT utility outside of the silos that mass media has placed them in. And I might even give you some exciting ideas for you to build upon. So, here's my list of the top 10 use cases for NFTs. First up, art NFTs. At present, digital art is one of the most common and definitely most expensive forms of non-fungible token in the market. This is because some of the most salient and valuable NFTs in the space right now are those possessing an artistic element, such as Lava Labs' CryptoPunks, Yuga Labs' Bored Ape Yacht Club, and American generative artist Tyler Hobbs' Fidenzas, to name a few. Now, a quick disclaimer before we proceed: I do own 4 mutant apes and 1 Meebit in my personal crypto portfolio, just so you know. At first glance, artistic NFT collections now appear to be a great framework to support and showcase the work of this generation's creatives. Artistic NFTs still remain arguably the most relevant type, primarily because the earliest examples of non-fungibility within the blockchain ecosystem came from tokenized artistic illustrations. This essentially means that the history of NFTs is somewhat intertwined with the origins of crypto art, which enriches them with an innate historical value and cultural appeal. Let's take the early Bitcoin-integrated MoneyGraph crypto art project as an example here. Now, just like with fine art in the traditional sense, collectors and art investors aren't too enthused about buying a copy of an art piece. They want the original. And before NFTs became mainstream, artists who created digital artworks were faced with major issues and limitations, such as others being able to replicate their art pieces with ease, which naturally decreased their scarcity and value. As a result of this, MoneyGraph, short for monetized graphics, introduced digital artists to the concept of cryptography by enabling them to generate a blockchain key connected to an art piece and store value in a Namecoin wallet, similar to the way they would have stored Bitcoin. This key gave artists access to a cryptographic proof of ownership of their digital deed and entitled them to a unique claim over their art piece stored within the Namecoin network. Now, MoneyGraph dates back to 2014, but in my eyes, its utility set just screams NFT tech, and it's one of the earliest instances of non-fungibility in the space. Therefore, given the historical connection between the NFTs we see today and those early proof of ownership experimentations led by the first crypto art projects, I can see why investors appreciate the intrinsic value of NFT-backed artworks. And if you'd like to know more about this topic, feel free to check out my most recent video I made on it, which you'll find up there in the top right. Okay, so that's art. Next up, collectibles. Now, the art of collecting has evolved drastically over the past 2 decades, and in fact, it wasn't long ago that collectible shops and trade shows were the principal marketplaces. Now, most collectible and memorabilia transactions have migrated to the digital realm, and they've found themselves a loyal ally in NFTs. The use case for NFTs in the collectibles market is crystal clear. This is primarily because collectibles, be it a rare Panini football trading card, a ticket to see Hendrix at Woodstock in '69, a fine wine, or a funny-looking kitten, derive value from their nature of being unique and irreplicable, which makes them the perfect match for NFTs. As it stands today, according to Market Decipher, the global collectibles market is valued at more than $400 billion, and it's expected to grow at a 7% compound annual growth rate between 2021 and 2028, with projections of it hitting a staggering $628 billion by 2031. Thus, similarly to how NFTs and fine art have come to go hand in hand, it was only a matter of time before the collectibles market merged with the provable scarcity, immutability, and blockchain-backed value offered by non-fungible tokens. This is because NFTs have broadened the horizons of traditional collectability practices and have paved the way for the development of an innovative market centered around rare digital assets, making NFTs the perfect fit for collectible items. And with the numbers that NFT collectibles have been pulling in over the last year, that $628 billion valuation by 2031 doesn't actually seem like too much of a stretch. In line with collectibles, we have sports moments. Now, since the beginning of 2021, we've seen a vast number of top-tier sporting corporations, teams, and athletes embrace NFT technology to create unique in-game moments and immortalize gameplay on-chain. One of the most salient examples of this is Dapper Labs' NBA Top Shot, an NFT marketplace developed in partnership with the National Basketball Association and focused on providing fans with some of the most iconic moments in basketball. Now, each and every video clip listed on NBA Top Shot is represented on Dapper's own proprietary blockchain, Flow, as an NFT and can then be bought, sold, and traded directly on Top Shot's marketplace. The NBA aside, we're now seeing other sporting behemoths such as the NBL and the UFC, among others, enter the NFT-verse. This is because NFTs have thus far proven able to drive paradigm-shifting economies in pretty much any field they're involved in, opening up a new spectrum of financial opportunity for all parties involved. However, out of the many existing use cases for NFTs, the sports and entertainment industries appear to be among the most logical and economically promising implementations of NFT technology. The next use case for NFTs is in music, and here they have the potential to disrupt the entire industry. Now, since the invention of sound recording back in 1877, the music industry has been tightly bound to technology. From the first discs to streaming services, from the advent of record altering to the rise of modern electronic sound, technical advancements have shaped how music is produced, performed, preserved, and consumed. Today, we live in an age where music has become almost entirely dominated by streaming services like Spotify or Apple Music. And in this day and age, it becomes ever harder for artists and musicians to generate revenue due to the industry's oversaturated market and inherently unfair structure. For example, most musicians get paid fractions of a penny per stream, and streaming as a whole is only really profitable for those artists with large and established audiences. In fact, data from 2019 and 2020 shows that 90% of streams go to the top 1% of artists, which indicates the existence of a majorly disproportionate and hierarchical structure within the music industry. However, with NFTs, this is all primed to change. Now, while it's still early days on this front, NFTs allow musicians to create a more direct artist-to-fan interaction, as well as benefit financially from the tokenization of their work, which they can exchange for real-world economic value. This newly discovered match between NFT technology and music production led young multi-hyphenate artists such as Grimes, all-time legendary bands like the Rolling Stones, and a list of established rappers such as Nas to sell tokenized versions of their tracks, digital art, or even bundles of virtual and real-world merchandise, generating millions in returns. But putting the big dogs aside, NFT technology is proving to be an incredibly beneficial advancement for smaller bands, producers, and artists in the industry as well. This is because it effectively enables them to, firstly, tokenize their creations on-chain while preserving ownership, and secondly, to avoid having to go through the often unfair bottlenecks that come with using streaming services, which often strip the musician of their rights. And while this is all very well, only time will tell whether music NFTs are a mere byproduct of a bullish crypto market or a transformative force destined to upend the music industry. And while there are talks of a new creator economy model powered by NFTs, skeptics are starting to voice concerns. These include the actual utility and whether the current model of music NFTs will scale beyond just a handful of artists who are heavily involved in the crypto community. Next up, there's gaming NFTs. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into gaming NFTs here, as I've covered them extensively already. But if you'd like to know more about in-game NFTs and how they're poised to disrupt the global gaming industry, then feel free to check out my most recent video I made on it, which you'll find up there in the top right. In-game NFTs have been one of the hottest commodities in crypto in recent times, and this is primarily because there appears to be a solid economic use case for NFT technology within blockchain-based and non-crypto native games. The value of the global gaming industry currently exceeds $300 billion, with the number of active gamers worldwide currently sitting at 2.7 billion. But what's fascinating about in-game NFTs is that they embody some of the earliest expressions of NFT technology in the blockchain space. In fact, the first instance of gaming NFTs dates back to 2017 with the CryptoKitties, a series of in-game collectibles stored on-chain as NFTs. Since then, with the advent of GameFi and the play-to-earn ecosystems pioneered by Axie Infinity, gaming NFTs have drastically evolved their economic use cases and are currently fueling a truly leading-edge financial framework centered around in-game and in-world non-fungible assets. Now, players have been buying virtual goods for decades. However, the utility of these items has been limited by the game's own centralized architectures and so-called walled gardens. This, in turn, has led to the creation of gamer-first economies, built on the financial propositions fostered by NFTs and on the ability for gamers to exchange their virtual in-game assets for real-world economic value, such as crypto or fiat. Thus, given the clear economic utility of virtual items stored on-chain as NFTs, the use case for NFTs in the gaming sphere has ultimately come to be thought of as a match made in heaven. And I must say, I agree. Oh, I'll leave links to all of my crypto gaming videos in the description down below in case you're interested to know more about this fascinating and ever-growing ecosystem. After gaming, the next NFT use case is domain names. Ever since the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s and early 2000s, domain names have established an asset class of their own, with a plethora of digital marketplaces focusing on the buying and selling of these at times invaluable assets. Some domain names are still going for millions of dollars a pop, and their intrinsic value stems from the fact that domain holders can essentially own a piece of the internet, build a business around it, grow it, and then sell it for a profit. Well, one would like to think. Now, because of the primary features baked into their structures, domain names and NFTs do not in fact share many similarities. This fundamentally makes domain names and NFTs the perfect match, as non-fungible tokens can further enrich domains with additional proof of ownership qualities, giving the holder access to many more economic opportunities. These include the ability to store the domain directly on the blockchain to increase security measures, simplify domain transferability, and gain access to the infinitely more liquid secondary marketplaces within the NFT ecosystem. Currently, many companies are starting to view blockchain-based domain names in the same way that VCs and tech investors saw domains back in the early 2000s. That is, a potential goldmine. This speculative sentiment is furthermore exacerbated by the ongoing metaverse developments, where holders might be able to use their domains as NFTs to create their own businesses, such as wearable stores or NFT marketplaces in the virtual world. Now that would be something. And speaking of the metaverse, the next use case for NFTs is Metaverse Land. Now, another major point of excitement circulating around NFTs stems from the idea of using NFT tech to effectively synthesize a bridge between real-world and Web3-based metaverse-oriented economies. Now, the metaverse concept is a broad one, but what's particularly intriguing here is that developers are embracing non-fungible tokens to construct their virtual land ecosystems, opening up a new and innovative market for investors. For instance, we've seen land plots in prime locations within the Sandbox, Decentraland, Axie Infinity, and many others selling for multiple millions. This makes me think that apart from artistic and collectible NFTs, land plots could potentially turn into one of the widest frontiers for NFTs in the future. Combine this with the never-ending hype circulating around the metaverse right now, and you're faced with a plethora of opportunities for investment. What's more, because virtual land plots are represented as NFTs, this gives holders an infinite number of possibilities to increase the value of their land through yield-bearing activities such as monetization, leases, rentals, hosting concerts and events, or, well, pretty much anything you can think of. Land NFTs are one truly groundbreaking ecosystem in the space, and if you'd like to know more about these, well, you can check out my video on them, which you'll find, you guessed it, up there in the top right. Now, 8th on our list is real estate. Okay, check this. Imagine a future in which the real estate market is accessible and tradable in real time, similar to how one can access the stock market through a Bloomberg terminal. Also imagine that in this future, property ownership gets transferred instantly after the paperwork and payment are executed, and the process takes place entirely online. Sounds a bit too good to be true, right? Well, with real estate NFTs, this could become a reality. Now, those of you who have bought property already will know that the process is seemingly never-ending. It requires a ton of paperwork and middlemen, and it still operates on an outdated and wasteful model. But what we're seeing now is a new generation of home buyers looking for other solutions beyond the status quo. This is because they're simply unaccustomed to the costly and lengthy process of home buying, with its reliance on outdated transaction methods. Furthermore, it's becoming increasingly clear that the new generation wants a streamlined, efficient, and swift solution to buying property. In fact, many have argued that real estate already behaves like a digital asset in many ways, because the ownership of the asset itself and the paperwork for the ownership transfer is, in most cases, already digitized. This digitization gives NFTs an easy way into the real estate industry by improving the efficiency of asset transfers and providing holders with an on-chain, verifiable proof of ownership over their properties. The integration of NFT tech with real estate is an ongoing process, and a proper implementation will inevitably require time and effort, especially when it comes to securitization, regulation, and other potential legal issues that might arise. But the shift of the real estate industry towards NFTs is already happening. For instance, just last year, Michael Arrington, founder of TechCrunch, sold the first ever property as an NFT for a total of 36 ETH, or approximately $93,000 at the time. What's more, One Sotheby's International Realty, together with Voxel Architects, are currently introducing the first ever meta-real mansion. This includes a real-world home, set to be in Miami, and a virtual NFT counterpart in the Sandbox metaverse. This could introduce a new model when it comes to real estate purchases. In ninth place, fashion NFTs. With digital collectibles as NFTs establishing a profitable marketplace in the last year or so, fashion brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Nike, Prada, and Adidas seem to be catching the non-fungible fever. For instance, Gucci and Louis Vuitton recently dropped their NFT collections, raking in millions from their sales, with Louis Vuitton actively working on its own NFT game, Louis. Moreover, there does indeed seem to be a rather logical process to implementing NFTs into the high fashion domain. This is because fashion is an ever-changing, dynamic industry, producing seasonal items, drops, and collections which NFTs could help to immortalize and generate a market for in the digital sphere. While I do think that fashion brands embracing NFTs is something akin to aesthetic capitalism, we cannot ignore the role they're playing when it comes to raising awareness around NFTs and the metaverse concept overall. A great example of this would be Adidas partnering with one of the most prominent NFT projects at the moment, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, to generate a unique metaverse experiment for fans and celebrate its entry into the blockchain world. And whether this is all hype or ultimate revolution is yet to be seen. But what NFTs can do for both brands and cultural awareness, be it inside or outside the fashion industry, symbolizes quite the achievement leaning towards the mainstream adoption and appeal of blockchain and NFTs. And finally, we have financial NFTs. Because NFTs are versatile digital certificates of authenticity, this means that they can be applied to any sector that would benefit from having its ownership more easily transferable, verifiable, and interoperable with blockchain technology. This most definitely includes the likes of traditional finance and DeFi. The intertwinement of DeFi and NFTs has led to the development of a new and slightly under-the-radar use case for non-fungible tokens called NFTFi. This sees DeFi assets such as yield-bearing tokens, liquidity provision tokens, lending and borrowing collateral wrapped into NFTs to enhance network efficiency and ease of transferability. A great example of this would be the unique use of financial NFTs put forward by the Uniswap v3 protocol, which began to issue liquidity provision tokens. These are essentially claims on tokens supplied by market makers, and they're represented as NFTs. And with Uniswap v3 currently boasting a total value locked of over $3.3 billion, that's one hell of a use case for its DeFi NFTs. In parallel with Uniswap, NFTFi is slowly but surely starting to make its way into the more traditional DeFi ecosystem, and we're furthermore witnessing the rise of NFT-specific platforms and marketplaces offering DeFi-infused functionalities. These include the likes of NFT collateralization, fractionalization, staking, lending, and borrowing fungible tokens against NFTs, and even some innovative NFT yield farming solutions. Now, in recent times, NFTFi perhaps hasn't garnered the attention it deserves, and this is perhaps due to a series of legal concerns revolving around the securitization of non-fungible assets. And while NFTs deemed as securities would inevitably reduce the potential of their use cases in finance, DeFi, and the rest of the blockchain ecosystem, the implementation of NFTs into the world of traditional finance is something that I'm expecting to happen in the near future. In fact, financial NFTs can include anything from insurance to bonds, and from unique baskets of tokens to real-world assets. I believe that the cutting-edge utility structures inherent in NFTs can and most likely will be leveraged by real-world financial corporations and businesses in the near future. Evolve or get left behind. And that concludes my list of NFT types. Throughout the last year, NFTs have been all the rage, and in today's video, I wanted to dive deeper and explore some of the innovative use cases that NFTs have to offer that might not meet the eye straight away. Of course, while this year-long craze won't last forever, I deem it constructive at this stage in the market to outline what NFTs are truly capable of and showcase their alternative utility beyond just collectibles and digital art. This is because I firmly believe that NFTs are, in some shape or form, here to stay and will play an instrumental role in the evolution of our digital economies in the future. However, in parallel with this, I'll have you know that not every protocol integrating NFT tech is guaranteed to succeed. So, as always, please carry out proper due diligence before you allocate your hard-earned money to an NFT protocol, however revolutionary it might initially seem. Deal? Splendid. That's the video done for today, folks. If you have any questions, though, fire them below. And I have questions for you. What do you think of NFTs? Where do you think the space is heading? What use cases are you most bullish on? Now remember to subscribe to the channel and ping that notification bell if you'd like to keep getting the highest quality crypto content on the scene. Make sure you also check out Coin Bureau Clips to get all the information you need on emergency crypto market updates, crypto projects, and Coin Bureau updates right away. Now, I'll see you very soon, but until then, this is where I can be found: TikTok, Telegram, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribing to my weekly newsletter will make your crypto life sweeter. It's packed with all the tips and tricks that will make your gains stick. And if you have some extra cash laying around for a Coin Bureau hoodie or tee, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and I'll see you all very soon. This is Guy bidding you goodbye.